Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first tutorial on the Hive from Utopia. Thanks for getting on here and sticking with us. So to start off, if you've made it this far and you're listening to this video, you're probably already here at the dashboard screen. So this is your home page that you're going to see every time that you log in. So the Hive has been created so that we can begin scaling up our organizing. As Demand Utopia, we want to bring in as many utopians from across the world as possible to begin working towards our common goal of revolutionary change and for direct democracy in urban areas, municipalities, and rural areas across the world. So in order to do that, we need to have some sort of platform to plug people into. So what we want to do with this platform was create a system where everybody getting involved can have direct access to as much of the organization's information, passwords to social media accounts, and just generally all of the tools that you'll need to get organizing and start doing events and connecting with people in your area. So part of that is that we're hoping to start doing trainings such as this more often to help give people skills of all types. But this being our first video, we want to get into just a bit of an orientation on the Hive page and give people an idea of how it's supposed to work. So, so again, the big points that we're going to be running over are the dashboard, profile setup, groups and projects, to-do lists, badges and roles, docs files, our membership map, and showing you a little bit more of the bells and whistles. So the biggest point, the biggest thing here for you all to know is that primary functionality is going to be here in the groups tab, and we'll get into that later, but it's where you're going to find the different groups that you want to get involved with so that you can start getting organized with each other and finding tasks and things to do and just getting organized right off the bat. So we'll just get into looking over our dashboard here a little bit. So as you can see here, we have a calendar, and so you're going to be able to come on over here to the events tab and submit and create your own events, and you can decide how you want to share those. If you want them to be private for specific groups, you can do all of that kind of stuff, but this is going to tell you what events are coming up for Demand Utopia or in your area with any groups. So that's a really great tool to just keep track of all the different things that we have going on. Here's a communique widget, and you can also see we have the tab here. And so this is where you're going to see updates posted periodically that are sent out to everybody. And if there's anything urgent that you want to send out, you're also able to do that through this communique tab. So this is, you're mostly going to see things from like website administrators or different people doing calls to action and that sort of thing. Here we have our chat. If you get in there and chat, groups, just another list for the different groups that we have. Projects, here's just a list of the different projects. You see it shows how much progress is being made on those. Unfortunately, not a lot on these brand new projects yet. Too surprising. So here's tasks. So in our different projects, you can be assigned tasks, and those will appear here, and they can be set up to even send you alerts if there's a deadline approaching on those to remind you to get those done. And then we just have activity stream here, just kind of updating you on all of the different activity that's going on the site. So here you can see we have two different kind of side tabs. If you can push those back by pushing this button, And if you're on a mobile, you won't see those, so you'll have to look up there to bring those tabs out. Got a list of some wiki articles, so here you can find a written kind of just quick start guide, how to use the Hive, and structure and bylaws of the Hive, and organizing values. And you're also able to invite other members. So if there's other people that you would like to invite to Domain Utopia or the Hive, you can just put their email in here, and they will receive that email invite to join the site. So that's kind of the introduction of the dashboard. So again, you have notifications here. Computer's kind of slow, and you'll see what's been going on that's relevant to you. You can message people here with this little dinghy. Just click New Conversation, and you can decide, type in users' names, and decide create new conversation who you want to message. Okay. So now let's talk about profile. So if you click on this tab here, you'll see a different side tab that comes out. Gives you another view of groups, notifications, even has some friends. You can find settings to change your profile settings. If you click on this button here, you will access your user profile. And you can also find that up here at home at personal profile, and that will take you to the same page. So here you have a lot of different tabs. You have a list of friends, so you can request friendship between different people. You can also invite people from this tab. You can have your personal docs, and here you can click on this to see your achievements or your roles. So those achievements will be the different badges that you can earn. So you can see here that I have a green one badge along with a lot of other people. And then the roles, you'll see the roles that we have here. Profit. So we have a few different archetypes of different roles that you can choose from, and some of them are kind of thematic and funky, so you can choose which ones you like, and we'll get into that in a second. So again, you can upload a profile picture, a banner here, and these are kind of the gist of your profile. The important thing to do right off the bat will be to come in and pick a role, but we'll get into the badges and roles a little bit later. So next up, we'll just get into groups and projects. So the first thing after you set up your profile that you're going to want to do is come on over to the Groups tab. So when you click just on the Groups tab, you're going to get a expanded list of all of the different groups that we have. So you'll see stuff for different areas: California, video team, Seattle. So the first thing you're going to want to do is kind of come in and go search by area, so you can see what groups may be in your zone. So you'll see a list here, and you can click on the different areas. And we're in Portland, so we'll click on Portland. Now within each of these tabs, you'll come to a list, and here we only have one group set up. So this is our pod, and we may have multiple different groups in this area. We may have teams set up for basically sort of affinity groups, or what we call ciphers, that are focused around specific tasks to support the larger Portland group, or we may even have people that decide they want to create their own cipher in a different area of the same city. So this is where you'll find that, and you're going to want to come in and again choose the area that's closest to you. Again, some of them might be larger. That's just because we don't have anybody in those areas yet. So in the Pacific Northwest, we have about 3 different groups right now. So if you're living in the Southwest, Midwest, or Northeast, you just are going to want to, right off the bat, come on in here and Oh, looks like we need to do a little bit of work on that one. Click on one of these tabs. And yep, some of that's still under construction, but you'll see a tab there that says Southeast, and then you'd want to join that just like we had over here for the Portland tab. So we can show you California. I think that one's good to go. So here you can see California, so you want to click on that. So if you're, for instance, in California, maybe you live in Oakland and you have a few friends, and you decide that you want to do your own group, then you can just come on in here and click on create group, and you can have maybe your Oakland subgroup, okay? And maybe there's people more scattered out to the rest of California that organize under California. So the idea here is creating groups and formations in a flexible and evolving way, and we'll get into a little bit about our philosophy on that with the Hive in a second, in our second video. So again, if you want to create your own group, you can do that by clicking on this tab. And it walks you through the different steps on creating a group. So let's say I'm going to create a group for Oakland. So Oakland. A group and continue. So settings, it's a public group. We want to make sure that all of our groups that we create are public. And click next. Forum. Normally you click yes because you're going to want to have some kind of method of having structured conversations most likely. Docs. So you just click next there. Photo. You can add a photo if you want. We encourage you to, if you're adding them for intercommunal teams or a team group, a subgroup working within like a geography, which would be like the Oakland or California. So a team is something like media or comms, to use the symbols that we use for our roles. And you'll see groups that we have set up like that in a second, just to help people visually distinguish what that group is doing. Okay, so after you can invite people. So after we finish this, we have one important step that we want to go over. So after you have created your group, you're going to have to come in and click Manage. So this is the final step. And we're going to have you come in here and you'll have to go to Settings, and then come down here. So for some reason in our current build, this is not appearing in the setup phase. So so I did Oakland. So the type of group. So we'll want it to be a California is the type of group, right? So that's the kind of subgroup that it goes under. If you were creating, a team that was working under California, you also want to click on that there. So if it was, media, California, Domainutopia Media Team, you'd also make it that type. And this is so it will appear in this search by area tab. Okay, so that's how you make a group, and there's a few steps there. Hopefully it's not too confusing. Well, hopefully in the future, with more people getting involved, help streamline that process a little bit and figure things out. And again, apologies for some of those tabs not having stuff pop up because the website is still in development. So the second type of team actually that we want to get into here is our intercommunal team. So what I showed you so far was our geography-based teams based in like cities or regions. And now you can see we have these teams here. They're intercommunal because these are Demand Utopia wide. So your different geographies and teams will probably have their own little teams, maybe if they get large enough. So say maybe we have again like a Oakland Demand Utopia chapter that has 30, 40 people involved. Maybe they're going to have their own Facebook account, their own media team, their own actions team. Okay, so right now with our scale that we're at now, we have these Demand Utopia wide ones. And so we'll get into the breakdown on how those groupings work. But you can see here, we have a bunch of different groups, and we have them kind of organized around these different colors that are analogous, that are in tandem, let's just say that, with the different roles that you can choose from, just to help you distinguish. So we have the prophet, the grower, the sages, and the fungi here, beekeepers, or the hive keepers. So yeah, so with these are the first groups that you're going to want to join up with right off the bat, because these are going to allow you to just start rolling with Demand Utopia and finding some projects and tasks to just pick up right here, right now. So let's say you just sign up for Demand Utopia. After you do your profile, the first thing you're going to do is come over here. After you found your geography, is find some intercommunal teams, okay? So let's say you're really creative, or let's say you're going to do, if you're really creative, you're going to do the art team. If you're really into social media, Twitter, you can come over here and get right into communication. So we'd love to have you just sign up right off the bat and get on our Facebook or our Twitter and start posting. So with this, you'll be able to do that. So you can just come right over here and click on Docs. Take a second to load again. But what you'll find is every single group is laid out in the same way with the same tabs. Forum, Docs, members. You can invite other people to them. So again, with Docs here, you can see we have a list of different docs. Here's our email and social media login info. So if you want to plug into any of our social media and just start posting right now, we encourage you to do that, and just come on, sign up. If you're not in the communications team, or you say you're in another team that needs access to the email account or whatnot, you're also equally welcome and able to come here and find that information and use it for your purposes, for whatever that may be. So with Demand Utopia, we work from a 3 utopes principle. So as long as 3 people decide an action is a good idea, you can move forward with it. And so you don't need permission. You just go forth, and we encourage people to take ownership over the organization. Now, in some of these established groups, we encourage people to communicate what's going on, everything transparent occurring over here. People can keep track of it. And if disagreements come up, we encourage people to strive towards consensus, but in established groupings. And if you can't reach that, then you can go off and start your own thing. So we'll get into that again a little bit later, but just to give you a little taste of the kind of philosophy that we're trying to work from. So the other major thing that you're going to want to do right off the bat after you come in and sign up for teams, go to the projects. So under our projects tab, every single group has set up for it a rolling to-do list, okay? So the rolling to-do list is where everybody can come on and add different tasks that need to be accomplished. So for communications, you can come in here and click on to do, and you'll find that list, right? So check the email list and respond to email. So let's say I just checked the email. I can click that off, and I will have accomplished the task. But let's say that I don't have enough time to accomplish the task, and I want to, but I want to do it later. I can come in here and click on this little pencil, and then just fill out my name here. On that and click Edit Task. And now I will have been assigned this task. You can see there it has a due date of October 20th. So I've now been assigned this task, which is great. Oops. And I accidentally just clicked on the checkbox, which means that I completed the task. So that's how you assign a task, and that's how you complete a task. Okay, all in one quick stroke. So that's how that is done. So that's what we want to encourage everyone to do, is to really pay attention to coming onto the project list for the different groups, finding projects and adding things on the to-do list and accomplishing them. And if you just have things that you think should be done and you maybe don't have the time to do them, you can come in and just add things. If you just want to pop into a group and complete one task, go for it. You don't need permission. Permission just keeps us held back from doing what needs to get done. So if you see something that needs to happen, come on in, do it, or add it, directly just make it happen, or add it to do item. Or if you're looking for ideas on things to do, find a group that sounds cool, see if there's tasks that you want to complete, and make it happen. Okay, so the ball is in your court. So that's kind of the bread and butter. And again, I want to emphasize just one more time the importance of the to-do lists here. And this is where we're hoping people come either to the, coming to it through the groups tab to the projects, or just directly here on the projects tab, and finding projects and adding to-do tasks and completing them. Because if we can crowdsource, hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people to come in and plug into this framework and add tasks and complete tasks, and maybe they're just doing one thing at a time here and there, we can really amplify what we are capable of. So the next item here is badges and roles. So real quick, to return to our profile, you can see that you have different badges and roles, and we looked over a little bit of those earlier in the achievements. So over here on the badges tab, you can click on that. So we're hoping to gamify this a little bit and give people, again, right off the bat, some on-the-ground action ideas that you can take on yourself. So we have these broad kind of categories with some action ideas, and you're always welcome to make up your own. And so it's kind of a little codex to guide some organizing practice for you. So you can come in and check off a few, about 3 tasks for each, and you can earn that badge. And if you come up here, you'll see you shoot us a email here, or send it over to the badge group, which we have, and let them know that you've completed it. Then we can also, we'll award you the badge electronically on your profile, and if you're interested, can also send you a physical pin with the badge on it. So it's a cool way to just get a little bit of recognition and reward for your efforts that you're putting in here in the movement. And we, in the groups tab, encourage people to also find the badge group and get in there and add other badge ideas and criteria, and help us develop this program. We eventually want this to be like a whole packet, and that we can hand out to people in a physical form. It's a little bit more expansive, kind of like a radical Cub Scout manual to just allow people to also get self-organized. So The other big thing here that we can look at is roles. Woohoo! So you can choose between Sage, Hive Keeper, Grower, Fungi, Prophet, or Sprout is our default one that everyone starts off with. So Sage, this is for people who are teachers, people who are interested in teaching things and training people and that sort of thing primarily. Hive keepers, these are for people who are into nurturing and protecting, caring for people. So that might be, you know, doing a meta collective type of things or community defense, those sorts of things. Growers, this is for people who are interested in recruiting others and building up our work. So that might be you know, getting involved in an action team or even a fundraising team. Okay, Fungi, they keep the DNA going, so they kind of make sure that we're staying on track with our goals. They do a lot of the kind of background work, creating networks and strategies, and keeping you know, technological develop the infrastructural work that we need to keep this network going. So then we have Prophet. So these are like truth seekers and artists and people who have a prophetic or poetic kind of nature to perceive spatial or spiritual realities. So these are different roles, and you can't see the tab right now because I've already clicked on it, but you will be able to, after you've logged in a few times, award one of these to your profile. And again, if you notice, these correspond to the different intercommunal teams that we showed you earlier. So you can get just a visual look at what sort of teams might be applicable to your role. And also these roles help us in our different projects. If we're realizing, you know, by keeping track of what our different roles are, we can understand better what we may be missing as a group, because every group to function well ultimately kind of needs people from these 5 different archetypes. You know, we always need people that are educated and training others in political theory, people who are keeping care of one another, and people who are growing, bringing more people into our movement, people who are doing that important background work, and people who are creating artistic inspirational lives. So if our movement, you know, isn't bringing in a lot of people, maybe we don't have enough growers. If, you know, we're not able to keep on track of emails, maybe we don't have enough, you know, fungi. So this is also, so this kind of codex here has a few different uses, just to help us keep track of kind of the health and balance of our movement and the people who are involved in what we all bring to the table. So that's badges and roles. The next thing that we'll get into here are docs and files. So you'll see over here we have a tools tab, and you can see we have a file cabinet. So you can come in here and you can see and add different files. So maybe that's a piece of writing or a image or something. And so every single group, I believe every single project has its own files directory in here, so you can find those. And then we have docs. So docs are kind of a separate thing. These are little documents that are created just through this site for different purposes. So you can see with some of these we have just links to Google Docs, or a link to our Google Drive here is also, let's see, can find it. On the next page, we have a link to our Google Drive with all of our images that we've created and files, so the DU Drive here. So if you have like a bunch of pictures or like Photoshop stuff or video content, we want to try to use the drive so that we're not using up a bunch of the resources of our website. So again, like for the creative groups, so art, meme team, video team, DU Drive is where you're going to find a lot of that stuff. So the last thing here, members. This is the last big thing. You can come in here and search for other people, and you have a few different ways of criteria for searching for them. You can also click on this map here that will show you where people are located. So this is an important thing with actually going back to profile creation. If when you create your profile, you just typed in Portland, then unfortunately you're just going to be stacked on top of everyone else on the same exact point that also wrote Portland. So if you can get a little bit more specific and go even down to a neighborhood level when you write that kind of stuff, then what is going to allow us to do, if you're in a city with a lot of people who are in demand utopia, is that you can find people even by neighborhood who may be closer or further away. So again, maybe try to find a landmark or something that's good here at this profile. It's close to where you live, and type that into your location. So you can go in your profile and change it if you already wrote just a generic name for your city. So there's that. So that helps us find people around us and get connected. Just another way to plug in utopians from across the world. The last few things here, we have a forum that we really want to encourage people to get on and have discussions. And you can find we already have some political discussions happening here under the discourse dome. So the different groups will also have their own forums. So we have a little bit of a spicy discourse happening here. So that's cool. Again, kind of events. It's pretty straightforward. If you want to click on that, we have a wiki, which will hold things like just some guides to the Hive, and we can add other stuff, terms, or all kinds of stuff, whatever you want. So the last thing, directory. We can build this out too, eventually, if people are interested. And this is just kind of stock stuff, but we can come in here and add a directory for different, community resources. If you want to do some resource mapping in your neighborhood or community, you can plug all of that stuff in here by clicking create an item, and that will walk you through the whole process. So if you're interested in doing that, or coming in here, spending a little time adding different groups that are of common stripe or resources or things to look out for, we can add that in here, and it would just be a cool little way of finding and accessing different just organizations or resources that are out there that are outside of just the individuals that we have listed in the other map. So that's kind of it for the Hive. Again, in summary, the first thing that you're going to want to do is come in here to group, find your group that's closest to your area, and find a team, and figure out which team sounds good, and then jump into the projects and take on a few tasks and just start rolling with stuff. So that's kind of the big thing that we're really hoping that folks are able to do. If you have any questions, just post them on the Hive or wherever. We will also have a Slack channel which is connected to this and to the Hive, where alerts will be sent, and that can also be just another place to have a little bit more organized chat forum for people who are interested. And we can also get alerts about what's going on in the Hive if you download that Slack app. So that's it for this video. There will be more in the future.